Hello everybody, I'm Betawolf and welcome back to another episode of Dark Souls PvP. We find ourselves back here with our, well, I was going to say Black Knight Halberd there, but that's a little bit different, right? We do find ourselves back here with our Darkwraith of Lordran character in the lower portions of Oolacile, and as I've just mentioned right there, there is something a little different about this character right now. We have switched things up as far as his weapons are concerned. As you did hear me saying in the previous episode, or the episode before that, I was really considering using the Black Knight Halberd at some point, and that's exactly what I've decided to do this time here. So we've put our shield away, because we won't be using it anyway, due to the fact that we've not currently got the strength yet to wield the Black Knight Halberd one-handed. And to be honest, I don't think we will end up building the strength up until that point. We'll be keeping it at 28, taking the dex to 40 when we get enough souls to do so. So, of course, once again, this character's still not complete. However, it may be the last video of this character, at least for right now, before we move on to something else. Bit of a different build, mix things up a little bit. So we are using the Black Knight Halberd here. Two-handed, we have got the repair in our, not necessarily offhand, but we just switch out to our right hand, and that's where we find our repair. And at last, we find our character here. He tries to get me with the Wrath of Gods. I do poise through that, thankfully, to the Wolf Ring. Managing not to get staggered there with the Wrath of Gods. That would have been rather painful had he knocked me off that ledge there. But nevertheless, like I say, we are totally okay here. Engaging our foe. He's rocking the full Paladin gear. So he's quite poised up. And I must say, if that Paladin gear is leveled up to max, it is extremely, extremely protected. But not enough to stop one of our backstabs with the Black Knight Halberd. So there we go. We get the first kill there of the video. And move on forward. Very nice. Our poise, actually. Wait, are we even using the... Yeah, we are using the Wolf Ring here, I think. I just can't see the aura around myself. Maybe we switched up to something else here. I may not have actually equipped that. But you do see there as well, we're not even using the helmet or gauntlets. We've literally just got a chest piece, in addition to a leggings, both of them being Elite Knight, of course. But that's fine, because like I say, I don't really like to play like this guy's doing right now. You know, full Havels, poise through the roof, because then you're going to be caught off guard a little more when somebody actually does stagger you. You know, if you end up using a build that does have a low poise after using full Havels, you're going to be caught off guard. You're not going to be as used to the toggle escapes and things along those lines, and you're also going to be shocked when you take the damage that you do. So, I feel like that's important to occasionally challenge yourselves. Speaking of challenge, these guys certainly aren't doing that as well. In fact, was this the same Havel as previously? I think it may have been, but regardless, you do see here we've got a guy in full Giants, well, Giant Dad basically, but instead he's using the Silver Knight Shield in addition to the Black Knight Great Axe. This is a guy in full Havels. I think he was the same as last time. And sadly we only get the partial parry there with our hand. If we would have got that, I would have switched out to the Halberd, two-handed it, and then got the riposte, if I would have had time. But sadly, we didn't. And I don't think this one goes well for us in the end. But nevertheless, you've got to try, right? And this was the surprising thing to me. Even two people like that, two gankers, kitted out as much as they are in that gear, they still wouldn't even follow me down these stairs to this point. And I mean, it's fair enough, they're just being extremely cautious, knowing that if in any way one player can get an enemy to help them, they're probably going to lose. So that shows the confidence levels from these guys, but that's totally fine. You know, everyone's got their own playstyles, and I'm fine coming back up here to engage anyway, despite this sad occurrence here. Though we do eventually get the toggle escape there on the second hit. But I don't believe it ends up being enough for us from what I do remember from this invasion. BS there, and then our character stands still. Boom, Black Flame. It happens, it's one of those things. And he continues spamming it on our corpse there. It is fun. You've got to enjoy it. You've got to. And I must also say, it's been a lot of fun playing with this build. Though when we come back to it in the future, we'll probably be back with the Claymore and the Repair, Buckler, maybe a bow, you know, something along those lines. A bit of the usual build that we started off with on this character, and by then maybe we'll actually be, you know, back at, well, at the 120 level, 115 level, around that point where we intended to get this build anyway, because like I say, We are no longer there yet with this current build. But it will be fun to use regardless. That's why I've continued doing PvP. It's fun regardless of whether you're at the quote-unquote correct level anyway. But here we are. It's been fun using the Black Knight Halberd too, to be honest. So here we are anyway, enjoying PvP. We get another kill there. That guy didn't have the toughest armor, but that's fine. You know, he mixed things up a little bit. But we did see he was using the Mask of the Mother. And he dropped the indictment there on us at the end as well. But yeah, like I was saying there, the Black Knight Great Axe, and in fact a few of the other Black Knight weapons, like we're using the Black Knight Halberd right now, they are really fun to use. And I remember back in the day, early on PvP, I believe it was, somewhat early on at least, it was in fact the Black Knight Great Axe that got a ton of use in PvP. That was kind of quote-unquote meta for a while. I do remember that being the case. But overall, considering, as I'm sure you guys know by now, halberds are in fact my favourite weapon class. So the Black Knight halberd is obviously a great one for me to use. It's a lot of fun, and they are actually viable in PvP. You know, they are really powerful, certainly not weak. And here you see our mastery of the dodge roll there with the iframes, and we managed to tighten this guy up with a backstab after getting around him. And, oh, I forgot actually how this one ends. Maybe we don't win this. We did well dodging all of his swings there, and the pyros, of course. And there we go. Yeah, that's such a deadly attack as well. Speaking of that weapon, the rolling R1 with the Black Knight Halberd, the way you just literally fling it out, it's like it's on a spring. It's on wire. You know, it really moves so fluidly and instantaneously that it can catch people out really nicely. Invaded the world of Laker. You see here we are also switching up the environments as well, as the Darkwraith of Lordran PvP series that we've got going here does work around. There'll never be a video in this PvP series when we're just in one place. We do like to jump around in these videos from place to place, just to make sure we are really getting the mileage out of the different invasions and environments in this wonderful game, you know. It's not just my favourite overall Souls game, it's actually my favourite when it comes to PvP as well. I don't feel like... Granted, I've not really done much Dark Souls 3 PvP yet. I've had the occasional invasion on the playthrough that we're currently doing. But I've played a lot of the others in PvP. That goes for Demon Souls, Dark Souls 2, and Bloodborne. And personally, I don't think any of them really hit the spot as far as, you know, PvP was concerned. And when I say hit the spot, I don't mean it wasn't enjoyable. I did enjoy PvPing in them games, but I just don't think it was as... how do I word this? I don't think it was as enjoyable or as good as it is in Dark Souls 1. Demon Souls was pretty fun. That was good PvP. I feel like that was kind of down to... And I feel like this is the perfect time to talk about it as well, because we can't find this guy. As you see, we're kind of walking all over the place, struggling to find this guy. So I guess I can go on a little monologue here, breaking down the different PvPs in the games. Demon Souls was fun. Everyone had the ability to grass up right away, you know, to heal, even if you was in someone else's world, which was cool. Now, the level of trolling that went down in Demon Souls PvP was actually pretty damn significant. And that's because people would often use things like the Scraping Spear when they came into your world and spammed it on you just to destroy all your gear. Or they'd use like the Storm Ruler or the Meat Cleaver, or basically a weapon that could launch the host in a particular direction, and they'd fly. And I wouldn't mean they'd just be knocked to the ground, they'd kind of get thrown. So people would like doing that to you on cliffs, which was very funny as well. And, you know, there were certain elements to Demon Souls PvP like that, which was kind of interesting. Now, I still found it really fun, because I did a little bit of that myself, and I've had it done to myself, so I don't really mind when it comes to that. And that's not a downside to Demon Souls PvP, because people are controlling this game as well. Get creative with Force at low level and things like that, and go into Sen's Fortress and invade them and bash them off of the, you know, catwalks. There's all kind of ways to troll. There always is in Souls games, right? But that was Demon Souls. It was fun. Everyone could heal at the same, you know, to the same level. I'm not sure how I felt about that really. It was kind of one of those things. I was fine with it, but I don't particularly feel that it was the best that people could just keep grassing. This is another reason why I think Dark Souls 1 had it spot on, because I never minded using humanity while I was invading. But either way, that's that. Now that the remaster's out, of course, as you can see, we can use Estus in other people's worlds, so that is totally fine. As for Dark Souls 2, I hear a lot of praise for Dark Souls 2 PvP for whatever reason. I've explained this many times before, be it on stream, be it on series that we've recorded. I don't understand the hype or enjoyment behind that PvP. Although it may sound extremely hypocritical because I did actually play it quite a lot. So why would that make sense? You know, why have you played so much Dark Souls 2 PvP, but you don't understand why it's so, you know, well thought of by some people? And that's not for everybody. There's people that despise it, but there's people that quite, you know, I've heard a fair amount of people say that they like it, but personally it controls very, it's got too much of a sloppy control and such a poor hit detection to the point where Dark Souls 2 PvP is just god-awful in my personal opinion. Though I could still play it and enjoy it, but when comparing it to something like Dark Souls 1 or even a couple of the other games, it's, you know, it doesn't really hit the spot as much for me, personally. And moving on from that, Bloodborne. I've not done the most PvP in Bloodborne, but that, again, seemed to... And I could be wrong here, but then again, it's just my general opinion, so I can't necessarily be wrong, right? To a certain degree, but I understand it. People may disagree, people may agree. But Demon Souls, but Bloodborne seemed to suffer from... Is it really bad, though? I'm trying to think of it, because considering it's been so long since I've done Bloodborne PvP, I'm trying to think on how I actually feel about it. It just felt kind of... It was enjoyable to a certain degree, but it felt like people could heal on an absolute dime, and, you know, it was similar to Demon Souls in that regard, I think, that people could just bang the blood vials out and just heal no problem. And I don't think the general overall pace of the game suited PvP as well as it did PvE. But like I say, once again, everyone's going to have their own perspective there, and thus that's kind of why I see Dark Souls 1 as having the best PvP. It was the... I generally feel like it was the best balanced PvP and the tightest to use, personally. And people may say, oh, the toggle escape, but, well, it's just a bug, right? But it is, considering what it actually is. It is, by definition, a bug. However, if you just learn to use it, it's a great mechanic. And, you know, I don't see where the problem comes in for people with that, because it works perfectly as a mechanic, the way it functions, in my opinion. So that was also another bonus. It allowed zero poise builds to be much more viable. So what's wrong with that? You know, it's been more creative in the player base, you know, as far as builds go. So I don't see a problem with the toggle escape at all, to be totally honest with you. What else was I going to say regarding the PvP here? Maybe the healing system. I can understand people not wanting to use humanity or anything like that. But if you've farmed it up, or if you... this is where it may get a little bit dodgy. But if you farmed it up, that would, you know, generally take a while depending on where you were getting from. But it worked. And if you got a lot of them, you could heal just nicely with humanity. And it would work fine in PvP. People say, well, I don't want to farm. Well, that's where, I guess, mules come into play. Mules, like, save files, basically, that can be downloaded for Dark Souls, where you've got characters with every version of the weapon in the game, upgraded to the maximum of every level, in addition to a full stack of every item. In fact, when it comes to humanity, I think you get a few stacks of each item. Now, we're not on a mule right here. I have admittedly used a mule on Dark Souls 3 before. Dark Souls 3, Jesus, not Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls on my PS3 back in the day is what I tried to say there. But I dared not to do it here on PC because I didn't know if it would result in a ban. But even though I've not used it for any particular cheating, so to speak, or anything like that, or trolling people, I just use it, or have used it in the past, just to get up to that 120 level, or whatever level I'm going to take the character to do. just to do PvP, right? So I don't think there's anything wrong with mules. So that's where the humanity becomes viable, because if you've got a mule, you're able to have that healing force to compete with the host. That's why I feel like that's totally fine. So yeah, I guess with a couple of little examples there, and just overall the way it feels, the way it plays, the pace of Dark Souls 1, basically everything about it, I just think it's extremely well suited to PvP, and that's why I kind of believe it's the best. Now people will also have issues with lag. Well, Matt, the game lagged back in the day. The game lags, it lags during PvP. Personally, I have never really experienced that too much, so I guess I'm one of the lucky ones. And I do sympathise with people that have had that issue. One moment. That's what I get for not taking a break between actual sentences. Just a little bit of a cough there. But as I was saying, I do sympathise with people that have struggled with lag in the game, because it really is a great PvP experience, in my opinion, when you actually get the chance to do it and it's a clean server and, you know, you're not teleporting all over the place, or that guy's not teleporting all over the place. But personally, it's not really happened often enough to me for me to consider it a huge issue. To myself, don't get me wrong, I've had plenty of matches just through the sheer amount of playing a ton of PvP in this game. I've had tons of matches where it's been lagging all over the place, but in terms of how many lagged versus how many were clean, it's extremely small. So thankfully I've been blessed to have a clean PvP kind of experience on Dark Souls 1, which is great. And whenever it did lag, it was just one of those things. I kind of shrugged my shoulders. We showcased a bit of it in the last episode, actually, with one of the invasions, so I have had lag before, but it's one of them. I shrug my shoulders, like, it is what it is. I don't, you know, it's not something I'm particularly extremely worried about, because I know that not all the game's going to be that way. Now, for the people that have struggled with lag, I do apologise to them, because it does suck. It would be great to have a clean experience for everybody, but I'm just not sure what more I can say there. I guess that's just, it's unfortunate that you've not had the chance to have as good a experience as me with the PvP. But that can coexist across Dark Souls 2, I don't know, Dark Souls 3, Demon Souls, the Bloodborne. That can kind of be something that comes into all games and isn't core to Dark Souls 1. So I feel like when it comes to just calling PvP, like, or breaking down PvP, and a nice parry to this guy there, by the way. Good job for him. It's rare that people actually do parry me in these videos, so good shout out to this guy. But as I was saying there, when it comes to breaking down PvP in the different games, or throwing out positive and negatives over another, I feel like it's kind of absent. You know, it doesn't need to be brought up, the whole lag situation. Excuse me. Due to the fact that, you know, it can coexist across all the games. So that's my general opinion there. And why in the world did I just get the greatest sense of deja vu? Oh. That's scary. That was weird. That was weird as hell. Yeah, that did feel weird, guys, but nevertheless, moving on. Maybe it's because I'm just watching the exact same footage that I recorded and played in person a while ago, so no doubt that's the case, right? But yeah, so I feel like that's not a fair judgment against Dark Souls 1 PvP, because it can, like I said, exist in all the games. So that's that, and that's my general take on the PvPs, you know, on why you feel like some are better than others and whatnot. But I've had a great time playing all the games, to be totally honest with you guys. I've enjoyed playing PvP with all of them. But either way, that's that. That's my giant monologue now. Been a nice discussion for the video, I feel like. But now, speaking of video, back to it. Let's talk about this fight right here. I really enjoyed this one, and you'll see why. I feel like it was enjoyable because we both kind of, you know, we're rolling, we're being very diligent in our approaches of each other. And, you know, none of us are just spamming the weapons. We seem kind of aware of each other's potential danger and kill potential, so... Oh. Maybe that wasn't the invasion that I thought. Never mind. Disregard. Either way, it was still a fun fight. I love the PvP in this game, so shout out to you, dude. Good fight. It was a lot of fun, for sure. And of course, here, we do find ourselves in the painted world of Ariamis. The first time across this 3-episode series here, or current 3-episode series, where we've actually come to the Painted World. I just thought, it'd mix things up even a little more. Like I said, it is Darkwraith of Lordran, so we must try and go to as many areas as we possibly can while we invade, and that's exactly what we do here. And this was actually a good fight. I feel like it was a little bit of a dangerous one for me. This guy did really well in terms of blocking a lot of my attacks. He positioned quite strategically there, whether he meant it or not, up against the barrels, so I couldn't just walk around for the BS. And like I say, he seemed to block and control my attacks quite nicely, in addition to backing up and, throwing out his spells and his shielded repair attacks. So this guy was, pretty aware of what he was doing. You see me trying to catch the parry on him there. Maybe that's a foreshadowing of what's to come. But, yeah, he does hold me back nicely there and get some solid pokes on me that do decent damage. Silver Knight Shield, oh, there you go. Boom, we get him in the end. There we go, after he shielded us for a good while. But when I was playing that fight, I did feel like he was kind of in control, and I don't normally feel that way when it comes to PvP. Oh, not totally in control. I know I had some control, but he was kind of, dictating the pace a little bit due to the fact that I couldn't break his guard. But either way, I found that to be a fun invasion and a good bare hand parry to cap it off there as well. So that is very nice. And right now, folks, I will leave you due to the fact that I have thrown in a couple of videos here, this one and the next two. A couple of clips of people who have actually tried to escape the Darkwraith and succeeded. So right now, folks, I will say I'll leave you with these guys, those that have been able to escape the Darkwraith. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a blast as per usual. Once again, I am Bateswolf, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.